With his ship still in tatters, Mando must rely on the child to work on some technical repairs in smaller areas of the ship, namely with some wire work in the cockpit, though given its youthful nature, it ends up electrocuting itself as it's unable to understand Mando's instructions, but is fine. While eating a meal together, Mando expresses they don't believe they'll make it to Corvus to see Ahsoka Tano in the shape the ship's in and chooses to return to Navarro to see some old friends to help repair his ship. A group of Aqualishes have taken up residence in the old Mandalorian hideout on the planet of Navarro, and whilst arguing over the money they've clearly obtained illegally, they're interrupted by Cara Dune, who has become the new marshal of the town, taking them all out and recovering the stolen loot. Mando makes a somewhat rough landing just outside the town of Navarro, and meets up with Cara and Greef Karga, who offer to fix up Mando's ship after his help clearing out the town of Empire occupation. The town of Navarro is now a bustling and lively place in comparison to its demeanor in the first season, with Karga stating he's been busy with clerical work while Marshal Dune focused on cleaning up the town. Upon hearing of the New Republic being behind Mando's roughed-up ship, Karga expresses a distaste for their activity in the Outer Rim, noting that if the Empire couldn't control anyone out this way, why would the New Republic think they can? Karga brings Mando to the bar in which they previously had their final confrontation with the client and nearly fell to Moff Gideon, revealing it has been converted into a school, and they leave the child there while the three go to talk business. The child tries to make friends with the boy sitting next to it in order to get some of its cookies, but after being turned down by him, it elects to use the Force to pull the cookies to it just out of sight of the boy. While heading to Karga's place of business, Mando runs into Mithril, his bounty from the opening of the series' pilot episode, who had been taking care of Karga's books since he was young until he disappeared after some creative accounting, leading to the bounty on his head, and now is working off his debt to Karga, with 350 years remaining. With his ship repairs set to take a while, Karga and Dune pitch Mando on a job to wipe out an Imperial base still located on the planet, which is where the troops from their standoff with Gideon were stationed, and destroy the weaponry from the base to establish the planet as finally being safe and even as a trade anchor for the system. The plan is to sneak into the base, overload the reactor and get out, with Mithril acting as their driver in exchange for knocking 100 years off his debt. With the Imperial technology not being made to withstand the lava flats of the planet, Mithril, Karga, and Dune work to try and hotwire the elevator from the ground level to get up to the base while Mando uses his jetpack and leaves them for a moment, taking out the stormtroopers and sending the elevator down to them. The group take out the guard in the main security center and make their way through the base to the reactor core, with Mithril being sent out to drain the coolant lines and overheat the reactor. He's successful in doing so, and the group begin running back through the base before their 10 minutes is up, but come across a science lab in which they find Dr. Pershing was conducting some kind of experiment involving blood transfusion from someone with a high midichlorian count, who he reveals was supposed to be the child, though his experiment would have killed him. Pershing's transmission ends with him saying he will not fail Moff Gideon again, to which Mando retorts Gideon's dead, but Mithril notes the recording is only 3 days old, confirming to the group Gideon's alive and the child's in danger back in town. Mando heads to jetpack out from the reactor to get to the child while Karga, Dune and Mithril head to the speeder, and will meet him back in town. Mando jetpacks out of the heat spout from the reactor core and towards town, while Karga, Dune and Mithril find themselves pinned down by stormtroopers in the cargo bay, leading Dune to hijack a stormtrooper transport to help them escape, destroying Mithril's speeder in the process as they jumped from the elevated cargo bay. The group hasn't fully escaped, however, as they are followed in hot pursuit by a group of stormtroopers on speeder bikes through the canyons, with Karga hopping on the guns to hold them off, taking one out before the other two race ahead out of range of the gun. Dune successfully smushes one of the two remaining into the canyon wall, while another hops on board and plans to drop a thermal grenade inside, but before he can, Karga turns the gun around just in time to find him, and shoots him dead on, killing him in an explosive blast. Meanwhile, a group of TIE fighters fly away from the base just as it explodes and begin pursuing the group just above the canyon, with Karga attempting to shoot down the walls around the TIEs to little success, much to the chagrin of Dune. Karga successfully shoots on down, though destroys the ship's guns in the process. As they race to town in the open plains with the 3 remaining TIEs all firing upon them, Mando arrives just in time with the now repaired Razor Crest to take them all out, with the child sitting excitedly in the passenger seat as Mando flies at breakneck speeds to shoot down the final enemies, though all the spinning around he does during his final air battle causes the child to get sick from the cookies. As Mando takes off and Karga expresses his gratitude once again for his help, he's later questioned by Captain Carson Teva, Paul Sun-Hyung Lee, about the base exploding, downplaying Teva's questions about the Razor Crest's appearance on the planet. Teva compliments Dune for her work cleaning up the planet system and offers her a position in the New Republic, to which she declines, while also imploring that she assists them in figuring out what's going on with Mando and the Outer Rim before it gets out of hand, to which she remains silent. He also references her homeworld being Alderaan, revealing he served during that time and asked if she lost anyone, to which she says she lost everyone, garnering Teva's sympathy, and he leaves behind a Republic badge for her just in case she changes her mind. Somewhere in space, an Imperial officer receives word from one of the mechanics on Navarro that a tracking device has been placed on Mando's ship, bringing word to Gideon, who's pleased to learn he still has the child and states they will be ready for their next encounter with him, observing a mysterious group of soldiers being worked on by a scientist nearby.